Hey everyone, my name is Anwara Kumari and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we have our second guest for Talking with series and we have with us Preeti Pragya. Welcome Preeti to the show.
Thank you, Anu. Thank
Uh,
you so much for having me here. Hi,
yeah,
everyone.
thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to learn cloud from you. And so for the viewers, she is going to talk to us, take to us into the journey of cloud. So I'm so excited to learn from her. Before starting, would you like to give a quick introduction to the audience about yourself?
Hi, everyone. I am Preeti Pragya Jha. I am basically into backend development. And apart from the backend development, I do architecture as well in cloud. I am an AWS certified solutions architect, and I have been working as an architect as well since last 2.5 years. So I really like architecting in the cloud. So overall, I'm like, developer come cloud architect. So that's all about me.
So that is actually a humble way of introducing yourself because she also runs a blog called Cloud Katha, and it is an amazing blog. So whatever we talk today, I will be dropping all the links in the description, so you will have access to everything. But Cloud Katha is a blog where she talks extensively about cloud and different problems with AWS and their solutions. So Preeti, I would really like you to tell me what was your motivation behind this blog, because this blog is wonderful and I'm sure it's helping a lots of people.
Well, that's true. Actually, the motivation is obviously, as we always say, when there is a problem, then only we go to find a solution, right? So, in my initial days of cloud computing, when I started for one of my client and I was a complete beginner, usually people start with starting with a storage service or doing simple things, but when I started, I simply jumped into serverless cloud computing and then doing the cloud native development and deployment using all those serverless technology, for example, Lambda, API gateway, and all. And I had zero knowledge about them back then. So usually while doing the development, I would face a problem, and then I would go into Google and search for that problem and the solution for hours, only to be sometimes disappointed not to find any solution. And that's when I, decided that if I am facing this problem, there might be many people out there who might be facing the same problem, but same as me, they also were not getting the solution anywhere. That's when I decided to document that each time I face a peculiar type of problem, I'm gonna solve it, and then I'm gonna document it so that nobody else has to spend so much time in figuring out a problem. And that's how it started. And thankfully, once it started, it's going really strong, and people are getting help from it. They are finding their solution, what they are looking for here. So I hope it goes good and I'm able to help someone in need. So,
Yes, of course. I mean, you are helping a lots of people because I have seen some of your results in top Google searches. So definitely, and there is so much of quality content. I'm really proud of yourself, like how you are putting out content there, and it's definitely helping a lots of people. So yeah, thank you from the whole community to you for creating such a nice blog, I would say. Uh, and also you gave a very nice overview of how you jumped into this cloud world. And yeah, that's a nice one, like you dived
it's,
head dived
yeah,
into
it's like,
it.
hopping into the middle of the sea out of a blue. That's what I did.
Yeah,
You know what? I would like to highlight one point here. Uh, Usually, what happens whenever we start something now, we need the confidence to be able to finish the thing. And at that time, I'm really proud to have a client like my client that who had immense faith in me. I directly told the client that, boss, please know that I have never ever worked in AWS, and this is the development from scratch, and I can tell you that I can learn and do things. However, please be noted that I don't know AWS at all I know is AWS is a cloud, and it's Amazon Web Services. That's all I knew. And that my client had a faith that yes, I can do it based on the way he interviewed me. And each and every day into my journey, when I used to know things, because obviously when I started out of the blue, suddenly in the middle of the sea, I was into, for example, complex scenario, and then going from the complex scenario into the finding the fundamental of the thing, that how things work, and then again coming back and putting things together. So I would like to say that whenever someone is there, you trusting fully, that's a big motivation. And also for you to prove a point that, yes, I can't disappoint the person who is in front of me and who is having so much faith into me. So that was a great gesture by my client.
That is so true actually, because yeah, sometimes we don't believe in us, but if someone else believes in us, we feel like we have to live up to that belief, and then we end up pushing ourselves. So yeah, I mean, it's really a blessing to have a good client. So for me, as of today, my knowledge about cloud is the same. Like, yeah, there is cloud and AWS is Amazon Web Services. So this is my understanding as well, and my understanding ends here. So I'm really excited to learn from you, and at least to be able to explain little more about cloud after you teach us. So yeah, so do you like to start with the session?
Of course,
So
in
let's,
I
yeah.
would, like to give a little bit of overview into the cloud. Cloud, as you know, nowadays is a buzzword. Everywhere you will listen cloud, cloud, cloud. Be it a small organization, be it very big organization, everywhere there is a cloud. And so that's why I would like to give you a little bit of overview into cloud. What is cloud computing? Why we use it? What's the benefit? And which kind of cloud that I use in my day-to-day work,
Mhm.
and then giving a very simple hands-on demo. For example, how to deploy a simple website into the AWS cloud. So that would be the journey about today.
Okay, that sounds really awesome. So I have shared your screen. So yeah, take it away.
So thank you, Anu. So I guess by now you already know me a bit, and let, this is the agenda that we'll be talking about today. We'll see what cloud computing is, why we use it, what is its type, and real life cloud computing example. And then, since I have been using AWS since long time, and I feel it's really good. I would like to give you a very simple demo of how to get started with it, because hosting a simple website in S3 is one of the best way to get started with learning AWS. Okay, so let's get started. What is cloud? Tell me a thing. When I heard the cloud for the very first time, first thing that came to my mind was the cloud that we see in the sky. Was that the case with you as well? Don't forget to leave a comment to let me know that I'm not alone in this world who thinks of the looks at the sky every single time when I listen the word cloud. Okay?
Me too.
Yeah. So if we consider about the cloud, think what does it do? It provides a service of rain to the resident of earth, doesn't it? We on the earth are dependent on the cloud for water, one of the most important resource. And then cloud serves us. If we compare it with cloud computing, doesn't it does the same kind of thing? somewhere up there, not in the sky, but somewhere in the remote place, there are servers, data centers, or thing where actual servers reside, and they give us service. For example, I need huge storage to store all my photograph because I am a photographer. Then cloud can provide me that storage, and I can store all my photographs over the internet into the cloud. So basically, if you try to compare, it very well compares with the real cloud that lies in the sky, somewhere up in the sky. So in that way only, in cloud computing world as well, the cloud or the data centers or the servers, they stay somewhere remotely, and we access all those resources using internet. Well, that was about cloud. So let's get to the introducing cloud computing formally, okay? So if we try to define cloud computing formally, it's nothing but on-demand availability of computing resources. For example, if you want to do anything, if you want to host a website, if you want to, deploy API, if you want to do any kind of machine learning, for anything, you will need a compute resource, be it storage, be it compute power, be it CDN, or be it a database, be it a SaaS platform, be it infrastructure. For all kind of resources, you can use cloud, because cloud computing will make all those resources available to you on demand when you need it. Usually, think little bit before what used to happen. I still remember, when I started my career a few years ago. In the beginning, the very first project that I did, once we used to deploy, you know once you have developed the application for deploying in the real machine, we had to deploy that. Imagine, we'll just go into that computer or the server, we'll log into that IP, and we'll deploy it in our system. So, the world had changed a lot in this time. So in those time, if you have to deploy a small website, you need to accommodate everything. You need to take care of all those servers. You need to have cooling system. You need to have power sorted. You need to have people who will be managing those server, who will be keeping all those server up and keeping uptime as high as possible, will be taking care of networking and all those things. So basically, cloud computing frees us from all those, hard to maintain tasks. And I love it simply because I really like, if you on the few clicks, you are able to deploy a website and you can go live to the global worldwide user in few minutes. And that's the power of cloud computing. For example, if you are a small business, you can start with one server. And if you are a big business, you can start with thousands of servers. So you don't have to worry that I have to build the big empire of infrastructure in order for my business to succeed. In fact, you can go side by side, parallelly. You can grow. Cloud computing actually, helps any kind of business who are just starting. It's great in that term because you can start and you do not pay in the beginning if you are not using the service. And as your user base is growing, your app is actually becoming successful, then you start paying it. So it's a win-win situation, isn't it? Talking about the on-demand scaling. So scaling, if I describe, scaling is nothing but, ability to add capacity and remove capacity. In terms of cloud computing, we call it scaling up and scaling down. So, for example, currently or suddenly you have a big billion day and you have to sell thousands of product, multiple lakhs of customer are browsing your website and buying from your company. What would you do? Obviously, you need to scale as soon as possible, and that must be done automatically. For example, as soon as more users are browsing your website, in the backend more servers will get added. And if they are are less users on your website, in the backend server will get removed as well, so that you don't pay for any idle server, right? Because that's what helps us in the cloud to lower overall operational cost. And that's why I say it's suitable for all kind of and all size of businesses. Well, we are here to give you a real life example of cloud computing. Let me tell you one thing, that even if you are hearing the word cloud computing for the first time, but I guarantee that you must have used it quite a lot of times in your day, and we use it in our day to day life as well. For example, who doesn't love binge watching a series on Netflix? And at least I do. Well, so as you can see in the screen, there are a lot of well-known applications. For example, Facebook, Netflix, YouTube, Airbnb, Zoom, and Slack, everything. And they are all hosted in the cloud. Especially if I talk about Airbnb and Zoom, they have started from very small, and then they have reached their peak being in the cloud, and they were able to do because they didn't have to, build the entire empire of infrastructure. For example, nowadays Airbnb is such a big thing, but there was a time when it just started. So imagine if Airbnb will go in buying all the servers beforehand, before going to that business and getting the users, what would happen? It wouldn't have been possible to succeed as much as it did. So cloud computing was a catalyst in the success. Well, types of cloud computing. Here, if we talk about the types of cloud computing, usually we define it, in the three parts: public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. Now, you might tell me that nowadays there is a, fourth one coming that we call community cloud. And community cloud, as the, word already is saying, it's kind of for the community. So let's know what is all these different cloud. I'll get start with private. Private cloud is, nothing but, as we say, on premises cloud for one single organization. For example, if my company or organization is not that much comfortable in putting the client's data, or due to some security reasons or for any other reasons, I don't trust anyone storing my data. I don't trust my data going through their network. So in that case, I can, get my own cloud in our own infrastructure. I can buy my own server. I can employ all those coolings and everything to put the cloud in the there in our own premises, and then we can access the cloud for ourselves only, so that we are more secure, we know what we are doing, we are compliant to our needs, and all those things. Then comes public cloud. Public cloud, as we say, is for public uses, and it's used as a, shared model. To give an example, I would like to say, for example, if we are using mobile phone, we use SIM card in our mobile phone for communicating, right? Some SIM cards are from Airtel, some SIM cards are from BSNL, some are from other company, or you might be using from some other company. So it's like, they are service provider, and they provide us a service of communicating with other people. We don't know what goes in the background. What's the system over there? How, two hops and router communicate with each other, for example, to make us talk to each other. We don't know, but we are using its service. All those things are abstracted from us. And that's how it happens with the public cloud as well. As you know, someone who manages it is called as cloud provider. And nowadays there are a lot of cloud providers in the market, few of which I'm sure you already have heard of. For example, AWS, Azure, then Google Cloud, or Alibaba Cloud in China, or DigitalOcean. There are quite a few already big players in the cloud. and they provide us all the available cloud services, and we can use it over the internet. So today we are going to, discuss mainly about the public cloud provider, AWS, in the demo that we gave, and a little bit about how to get started with it, why should we use it, and all those. Coming to the third type, hybrid. Hybrid, as you must have guessed by now, is the mix of these two, private plus public. Sometimes, some of our clients prefer that they would like to get started with their own premises infrastructure. And if at all required, for example, if they have huge storage need, they will get started with on premises, but as and when needed, they will transfer all those data that are not frequently accessed into the cloud. So it's called hybrid. You store something in your on premises and something in the cloud. You access something from the on premises, you access something from the cloud, and together they are called as hybrid cloud. So I hope these types of cloud is clear to you. And apart from three, as I said, community cloud is, similar to public, but it's not there shareable for the general public, but it's there for a special community of people. If I say for military people or for some other people, so it's specifically made for one type of community. Okay. Well, so we are here in one of the cloud service provider, AWS, Amazon Web Services. You might already be knowing Amazon Web Services, as for quite a few years it has been the leader in cloud computing market. And why not? They have, like, vast range of services, and they can cater your all kind of need. You can deploy any kind of application into the AWS cloud. You can do machine learning, artificial intelligence, and they have some satellite related services as well over there. So yeah, their range of offering is really, really huge, and it can cater all kind of demands that you have. So if we talk about, services, today I'm talking about application deployment. If we have a kind of application, how we are going to deploy it into the cloud. Here, as you can see, I have divided the application into two parts: front-end application, back-end application. If I have to deploy a front-end application, it's clear cut shown, like we will go to this way, right? We will be using S3. You can, if I say in simple words, you can get started with a website just using this service, S3, as I'm telling. However, if your user base is worldwide, then it makes sense to use, a content delivery network or CDN. And that's what CloudFront is in AWS. So if your website is going to be for your global users, S3 in combination with CloudFront is gonna be your choice for a front-end deployment. And if you are into backend and you want to deploy a backend solution, this is the way to go. As you can see, I have mentioned three ways to go here. Nowadays, as people prefer serverless way, mostly, and even I in my latest project have been working on serverless only, because serverless frees you up from even the smallest amount of, maintenance task is not up to you. You as a developer are only responsible for writing code, and that's all. Lambda, as we say, is a service which helps you write code and run it. That's it. And in combination with API Gateway, this provides you a full backend application that you want to deploy. And for database, we have multiple options on AWS, but it really depends on your requirement. For example, you might have a requirement for a structured data and you want to go for SQL, or if you have some unstructured data and you want to go NoSQL way, you have some other option. For example, DynamoDB you can use as a NoSQL database. You want to use CAS, you can go ahead with Elastic CAS. So it really depends on your requirement, which kind of need you have. So it's like going with what you need is something that will be in the front end. And that front end can be API gateway or application load balancer. It is going to take request from your user and forward it to your backend for further processing. So in the front, usually in the AWS, you will see either API gateway will accept your request or you will be using application load balancer. There are times when people use network load balancer as well. For example, if you want to process millions of requests per second, you might go with the network load balancer as well. But usually I have seen, in case of application that people go with either API gateway or application load balancer. Then comes to compute. In the compute, we have three options here. One is Lambda, which as I told is the serverless option. Another one is EC2. Who doesn't know EC2 now? EC2 is the backbone of AWS. It means virtual server in the cloud. Elastic Compute Cloud is the full form of EC2. As the name says, EC2 means it provides you compute capacity in the cloud. Which kind of compute capacity? Which is elastic. That means you can get started with one EC2, and if required, you can go to thousands of EC2, and that too within minutes. That's the power. Another kind of backend that we see is ECS. ECS is Elastic Container Services. Many application requires Docker to be deployed on the on premises or cloud. So if you have the requirement to deploy a Docker environment, ECS is the way to go. There you can deploy all your ECS, and all these backend together, they can use whatever database you have available, maybe DynamoDB, maybe RDS. And this RDS is the relational database services, mainly focuses on all relational databases, for example MySQL, Aurora DB, Oracle, SQL Server, or all those things. And AWS provides you all the option to create all those databases here and then use it. So takeaway from this slide is, if you have a front-end application, think this way. If you have a back-end application, think this way. Then you have the option to select here. Think on the what will be the front, will be taking request, what will be your servers, and what will be your DB, and you are all set to go. Okay, so today I'll be showing you how to deploy a very, very simple website in AWS. When it comes to deploying a simple website, AWS S3 is the way to go, as I told in the previous slide. So these are the steps that you can use to deploy it. We'll see it one by one after we log in into AWS console. Okay, so I'll give you a bit of overview as well. For example, as you can see, you will create an S3 bucket. You will create a simple website. You will upload the content of your website into the bucket. You will enable the website hosting, and then you will provide the permission for everyone else to be able to access your bucket. And ta-da, your website will be live.
Cool. So you are going to show us demo, right? Because I'm excited to see the demo on how it's going to work.
Yeah, I'm excited as well, Hope things
Awesome.
work fine.
Let's go.
Well, I'm already logged in into AWS, but I would like to show you how you can do that as well. This is the link, aws.amazon.com/console/, and here you can log in into your AWS console. In case you don't have a cloud account, AWS account, you can create a new account as well using here. Create an AWS account. Please know that AWS provides free tier for 12 months. So it's the right time for you to enhance your cloud knowledge using these hands-on knowledge, because as we always say, to learn anything, it's always best to get your hands dirty, isn't it? So if you want to, increase your knowledge in cloud, the best way to do is create your own AWS account and get started with it. So
Awesome.
once you
Absolutely
already
great.
have an account, you can click just log back in. And here there are two options to log in. One is the root user, one is the IAM user. I won't be going into the details of what are those things, but just to give a brief overview, root user is nothing but a user account that you create. For example, you'll be creating your account with your email ID and your password. So the email ID user is your root user. But for safety reasons, for security reasons, it's not recommended to use your root user for your day-to-day activity. And that's why one of the first thing is, after creating your account, is to create an IAM user. So hereafter, you will be using IAM user. So usually, once you have created your account, you will be using this way only to do all your daily tasks. Once you click on IAM user, you are required to put your account ID here. You can either put account ID or you can put account alias. Usually account ID are 12-digit number and are hard to remember. So I prefer using alias. And alias, you can put any easy name that you can remember. Well, I'm already logged into AWS here. So let's see how we can deploy a very simple website. In this search bar, you can search for any service that you want. For example, if you need EC2, search for EC2 and you will get the EC2 and you can create a virtual server in the cloud. But we are going to deploy in S3, so we will search S3. And as soon as we search S3, it appears here. Just click on S3. Once we are in S3, I would like to tell you just a bit about it. In S3, you can store any kind of file that you want, as we call it object in terms of S3. You can store any kind of object that you want. It can be video, it can be audio, it can be PDF, it can be a docs file, or it simply binary file, anything and everything that you can think of it. It has, flat file structure. Whatever your requirement is, you can do it. But before you can store it, you have to create a container into it. And that's what we call bucket. You create a bucket and then you store everything in your bucket. Let's try with test bucket. And here you can select a region, which region you want your bucket to stay in. It's a good idea to choose a region which is near to you. For example, I am staying in India, so for me it's good to select Mumbai region. But if you are somewhere, it's always good to choose a region that's closest to you, so that performance is good and latency is less, all those reasons. Okay, once we have selected the region, keep all other setting as default because it's not required as of now, and then just go on create bucket. And what you see here, bucket with the same name already exists. You might be, asking me reason why. AWS is such a big cloud. Why a simple name is, saying it does not exist? It might be, there are different clients. If other clients are using test, why can't I use it? Everyone has their own bucket. But my friend, let me tell you that S3 bucket is designed in a way that all the buckets has to be unique and not across only my account, across all the AWS account in the world. Okay, because they use AWS bucket name as a domain name as well. If you are using a website hosting or everything. And for many other reasons that will not go into details, but it's required that your bucket name must be unique. And a good way to maintain a unique bucket that I have found is always prefix your business name. For example, I just prefix Cloud Katha to any of my bucket name, and then chances of getting my bucket collided by any other gets to very, very low. So let's give a bucket name that's not, matching with anyone. Talk with Anna. I think it should not be already available. So, and as we were guessing, the bucket has been created. So we are done with these two steps, right? Now, what we have to do is create a simple website and upload it to S3. Let's go ahead and do that. For creating a simple website, I have a very, very simple HTML that you can see here already there, and I'll be using it for today's demo. As you can see, it's dead simple. It's a very simple demo with just one heading and all those things. So I'll be going ahead and uploading the content here. Let's click on upload, add files. Once the file is uploaded here, click on upload, and upload succeeded. So we are 2 steps ahead now. Step 5 is enable static website hosting. What is static website hosting? In S3, as I already said, you can do a lot of things. You can just decide to store all your objects over there, or you can decide to deploy your static website using S3. And to do that, it's not, by default enable. You have to enable it. By default, it is used as a simple storage container. But if you need to use it as a website hosting, you need to enable the website hosting. Don't worry, there is nothing to worry about here. It's very, very simple. We'll be seeing that how we can enable website hosting. Let's go to the properties tab. Here, beside the objects, we have the properties tab here. We will go into the properties tab. Keep scrolling till you find static website hosting section. And it's at the bottom of the page here. As you can see, current status, static website hosting is disabled. And this is the bucket we have just created, and as I told, by default, it's always disabled. Let's go ahead and enable it. Let's click on enable. Hosting type is, we want to host a static website. Index document. So we have just uploaded our website as, index.html. As of now, that's the file that we have. For error document also, I'm using this one only, but it always makes sense to have your own error.html, isn't it? For specific error type, whatever error you have, to have your own error.html. But for this demo, I'm just using this file only. Click Save Changes. So we have enabled static website hosting. So our website is already deployed over here. And as you can see, a URL has been generated. http:// demo talk with anu.s3-website dot blah blah blah.com. So this is the website that has already been deployed. But hey, why this 403 error? Well, in AWS, due to security reasons, any bucket that you create, they are private. Nobody else can, access those objects, and with obvious reasons. You don't want your objects accidentally to be in hand of someone, right? Just because you did not configure it to be private, you never want your objects to go in wrong hand, isn't it? So it's a good decision by AWS, I'm sure, to make the buckets private by default. And if at all you require to make your objects public, you have to do it. Now, to give permission, there are two steps. Okay? There are two steps. One step is I'll just be showing you, okay? You can also see, current access status. Bucket and objects are not public because this is a default bucket that we have just created with default setting. If you go to permissions tab here where we are currently, you will see block public access is enabled. This was done by default. As these words can tell you that public access is blocked for the bucket. So let's go ahead and disable it because we want our bucket to be publicly accessible, because the website we have just created should be publicly accessible, right? To our customers, to our users, to everyone else you want to share your portfolio with, or anything else. To just show you a little bit more, as you can see in block all public access, here there are 4 options shown and all those are ticked, right? These are the different types of options that are used to make a bucket public. So it's like block if any user try to make a bucket public by using this or by using this or by using this, don't let it do, just disable it. But now we as a user want to make our bucket public, and this guy will not let us do that first. So let's sort this issue, edit it and disable it. So now if we are going to enable public access, this guy will be happy, isn't it? Save changes. Well, one step already done. This guy is happy, and now access status is objects can be public. That means it's not yet public. It can be public, but it's not yet public. To make it public, what we need to do? As I already told you, that to make a bucket public, these are the 4 different ways. We'll be using one of these ways to make our bucket public. So let's go ahead with bucket policies, because bucket policies are one of the most frequently used and convenient way to make a bucket public, or simply to grant permission to other people to use your bucket. You might limit your permission, or if required, you can make it completely public. You might decide to, give access to only one file. You can do that as well. But for our requirement, we want our site to be used as website, and for that we need to make it public. So let's go ahead and use a bucket policy. Here only, if you keep scrolling down, you will see bucket policy. Let's click edit. And here you can, if you want, you can simply edit this to give access to public bucket. Or I prefer a website which is really good in terms of generating the policy. Simply go to Google and just search policy generator. It will open this beautiful site. You have to select policy type. we are creating an S3 bucket policy. So policy type is gonna be S3 bucket policy. Then we need to add statement. In effect, we have allow or deny. Obviously, we want to make our bucket public. That means we want to add allow permission. Principal. Principal means to whom? Whom do you want to give this access? Since this is a website, this needs to be public. And to make it public, you have to give star. Star means all, to everyone. You want this to give this access to everyone. Let's go ahead and select action. Action will be get objects. I mean, anyone should be able to get objects. This is get objects. Or, if required, you can select all action. All action means giving all the possible action that someone can do in S3. But as we always say in AWS, not in AWS only, in everywhere, that we should always follow the principle of least privilege. Only give permission to a person as much as less as required. If only a person is needed to use get object, you don't need to give get object ACL at all. It doesn't make sense. Then is ARN, Amazon resource name. And this is here we need to provide the ARN of the bucket. Let's go ahead and click on this square box to copy the ARN, bucket ARN. Let me remind you that we are in the same section in the bucket policy section, okay? We are editing the bucket policy, and as soon as you click to edit the bucket policy, you will be seeing the bucket ARN over there. So just click on this square box to copy the bucket ARN. Bucket ARN is copied. Let's go ahead and put this. Add statement. Now we have added the statement. So let's click on generate policy. Wow, policy, beautiful policy has been generated. So let's copy this. Let's go ahead here. Remove everything from the bucket policy. Paste your newly created policy. And save changes. And what happened? Action does not apply to any resources in statement. Now that's sad. What can we do? Let's try to Google. Well, Stack Overflow always comes to rescue, Thank you, Stack Overflow, for being there for us always. Well, I know why this happened. Okay, so in S3, there are two types of policy, bucket policy. One is object level policy and one is bucket level policy. For example, first there is S3 bucket, and inside the bucket there are object. So as I said, list privilege, AWS always follows it. So either you have access to bucket, or you have access to object, or you have access to few object, or you have access to few more, like really granular access is defined. So here, as we want to give get object access means we want to give access to the object. And that means here the ARN that we have specified, this ARN is for bucket level access. If you want to give object level access, you have to give /* I hope this should sort out this issue. Let's do save changes. And bucket policy is successfully edited. Now, as you can see beside your bucket name, publicly accessible. So that means we have successfully made our bucket public. Let's go and try again.
Whoa.
Yay! We have been done it. Can you see it?
Yes, yes, yes. This is so good. It's nice. Like it was pretty straightforward. I mean, it doesn't take much of steps if we know what to do next. That is. Uh, so, Preeti, I wanted to ask one thing. When you edited the permissions and you added a slash object, I
Hmm.
guess slash stars. So it means that all the objects in that bucket that we give permission to all of them. So what if like I have to give it to a particular object? Maybe there are multiple objects in my bucket. So is there a name which I can pick for specific object?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question, Anu. I would go ahead with that. Usually, you know what happens whenever we have a bucket, we know that many a times it happens that we have groups of people or groups of user or something, so we like to group all those things using prefix. For example, if I want to upload a bucket, in the prefix is nothing but in the console you will see it like folders. In real life, how we store object inside folder, inside that folder, inside that folder, so we name our things, as I said in the demo, index.html. You can name it like website slash index.html, and then you can name it like, other using other prefixes. And based on those prefixes, you can go ahead and then you can define the permission as well. Apart from that, you can use access control list as well, as this allows you to ACL, as you can see here in the screen. Access control list really helps you, to go ahead with the granular permission based on each object wise. You can click, let me just go to the bucket objects, click on the object, action, and here also you can see there are, this is already public, but otherwise you will say make public via ACL. Can you see that here? Like
Yeah. Yes.
this is object level, like each object. For example, if you have thousands of objects and you want to give access to only one object, you can go ahead and give it via ACL. Like only give permission to this. If you don't want to do only for one, you can group it using prefixes and then give it. And if you want to give whole, you can use bucket policy to give it as a whole as well.
Okay. I'm not sure how big of my question will be the next one, but like, what is the process for ACL? For giving the bucket permission, we saw how to do that. But with ACL, is it like just going ahead and selecting, making it public with ACL, or we also have to create some permissions for it as well? Right. Mhm.
Yeah, so there are different ways to deal with ACL in AWS. You can, either you can pass those ACL commands in as a CLI commands, or you can go ahead and if you have want to do simply make public, as I can say, you can select the bucket, simply just click it here and make public via ACL.
Mhm.
Single click is, you know, more than enough to make your object public. Okay.
Okay.
And other than that, if you have some explicit requirement, for example, uh, let me just show it in the permission tab. This was block public access bucket. Is it here? As you can see here, there is a section for ACL as well. Okay, as we have already enabled the bucket public, but here based on different things you can give that you only want the bucket owner to be able to access all the object. You want everyone to be able to access. This is what we did using bucket policy, right? We gave access to everyone, public access. So this is also the AC. We could have gone ACL way and just created the bucket to give everyone access, public access, right? So this was also one of the way. Then we can give authenticated user group. This is like something, if you want to give a group of access using AWS, some other ways. For example, if you have a on-premises server and you have Active Directory and you have a set of users over there, you want to authenticate your Active Directory to your AWS. And for each of your user, you want to create a folder so that they can store their own personal file in cloud. You can go ahead with authenticated user groups as well. Or here it's the log delivery group. So you can use all these options in the ACL to give access. So there were two options as I showed you. One is in the permissions tab ACL, and second is just by clicking on the object. Just click on the object and make it public if you want to give it accessible or to someone.
Got it. And there are lots of different ways depending upon the use case.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
worth
that's good.
deep diving into for some later day. It was really nice understanding how it works and behind the scenes. And when I see it happen, it looks like I got a confidence that I can do it too. I always thought that I will never be able to do cloud or something, but this looks nice. I might play with it for some days and see that how I can deploy with. I wanted to ask on this that I have seen a lot of billing issues. Like I always get to see on Twitter that people say that they got billed extra, and also I am sure that this also would have some settings to not get billed if you are not using something and so on. So is there some caveat which you would like to talk about maybe?
Well, obviously, when you are into the cloud has the power to, get started with one server, as well as it has power to go crazy using millions of server, thousands of server, or whatever is your requirement. And depending on that, you will be build obviously the huge hefty amount of sum. So what I do usually, and I also recommend all my readers in my blog, I have created a blog post on this as well. So that I always recommend my user that as soon as you create your AWS account, you should create billing alerts, so that even if you are sleeping and in your account, your budget, you go beyond the budget, you get an email as soon as possible. And as soon as the, that threshold is breached, you get an email, you see it, and you come back to your account, and then you go to billing dashboard. And there in the billing dashboard, you can see that what you have spent. For example, you can see my billing dashboard, it's $0. I'm so happy about it. Yeah. So in the billing dashboard, you can go, and if you have spent something, you will get service wise that what is something that is charging you. So you can see that by looking at this, you will be able to understand what I need to do next. So you can go ahead and stop that service. But before going into all that, you can, in this screen, you can go to budgets and create a budget. As you can see in my account, here I have created a monthly budget here. And as you can see, my monthly budget is 10 cent, that I want to be alerted as soon as 10 cent is spent in my account. And that's great. For example, I write a lot of tutorials on Cloud Katha, and by doing that, there are times that when I spin up few servers, maybe quite a few, sometimes 5, 10, just to give some demo, and I forget it. I just leave it running and I go start doing some other work. And suddenly, out of the blue, I get a message that your free tier has been already overreached, and then this amount is money is going to spend on your account. And then I wake up and come back to my account, and then I go to my billing dashboard, I see that where I have spent, I go back and I stop my server. So my friend, this is going to be your savior. Please, 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 if you are new to AWS, not new, I guess it's for some everyone, but especially if you are new to AWS and you have created a free tier account to uh, you know make a lot of learnings and learn new things, always make sure to create a cost budget. And you can create a monthly budget. It just has to be more than zero, right? So select any amount more than zero. That's why I had selected 0.10 I mean 10 cent. So select any amount and then create a budget and you are set. Now you are not gonna spend, millions in this, and safely you can learn as much as you want.
This thank you for this tip, because this is going to be a life savior, money savior, but yeah.
I'm sure.
And I'm going
Yeah,
to
I
add
think
this
this is
one.
the first step we should always, follow. That as soon as we create an AWS account, the first thing to do is to enable MFA because security is the most important thing to do. And the second thing to do is to, set up the budget because money comes second important thing after security. So yeah.
Definitely. Thank you. This was really nice. So, do you have anything else to share?
Uh, I would like to say, this is just the beginning, and you just got a taste of AWS, that what you can do and what you, cannot do. So, I would just like to show a bit over services here. As you can see here, there are lots of services. At the time, AWS has more than 200 services in different range. If you see analytics, they have a lot of services in analytics: Athena, Cloud Search, Data Exchange, Data Pipeline, and many, that's not application integration. There are many. So you can navigate through all this and see all the available things over here. So go ahead, create a free tier account, explore it, get your hands dirty, deploy your first application, get your hands on front end application. If you are into back end, go ahead, create a back end application. Just get your hands dirty and you will know it, you know, for sure. As I told in the beginning, that I dived in the middle of the sea. Suddenly I came and I had to, deliver my application within first sprint. There were few user story. And that was the time that I was suddenly into the console. I knew I had to create few things. But my friend, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I started doing demo before going to Google and searching what is S3 or what is Lambda. And you might think that was difficult. It was difficult, but it was hell lot of learning. Trust me, I learned a lot. So if you to you also, I would suggest that don't go too deep into any topic by learning theory or by going to Udemy courses or by going to AWS documentation, anything. Read a bit, know a bit about it, and then get your hands dirty. That's the best way you can learn AWS.
Thank you, Preeti. Really, it was very nice learning all these overview of cloud and AWS and that hands-on demo. I'm sure that people who are listening to this, they will also get a lots of value out of it. And I will be posting all the links which Preeti talked about in the video description, and also her LinkedIn and Twitter ID. Go give her a follow because she's doing really great in cloud front. And do check out the Cloud Katha blog. That is really, really amazing. And I'm sure that once I start learning, I'm going to use your blog a lot, Preeti. Thank you so much again for creating and coming here today to share with us all your learnings.
Thank you so much, Anu. Thank you so much for having here. It was a great pleasure talking to you and getting something ready for our readers and for our viewers. So thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. And so in this new year, I really hope that you put new learnings and new content into your blog, and more and more people get helped by it, and your blog grows a lot. So these are my wishes. Do you have any plans for new year, like any goals for this new year?
Uh, Having said about goals, obviously there are quite a few. However, one of my biggest goal as of now is to, in the last year, as we gave a lot and lot of tutorials in AWS Cloud, and more than lakhs of people have benefited from it. So one of our goals is, to come on our AWS channel, here, a YouTube channel, for our specific to all the cloud learnings, and then we'll be giving all those how to videos, how to set up this, how to set up that, or anything that our viewers would like to understand or know more about it. So that's one of my uh, goal, or to be broad, if I say Cloud Katha's goal. So apart from that, obviously we would like our viewer to get as much help as possible, and I would like to be as helpful as I can, so to give back to the community, you know, wherever I am, it's because of the community. We have learned from there, and then we go ahead, we learn a bit, and then we go a step further. So I would like to do my bit as well by sharing all the knowledge that I learned here.
That is awesome.
So
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way of learning, giving back to community and sharing your knowledge. And I'm really excited for your channel. Do create the channel as soon as possible, and I'm going to share that link soon in the description once you create it. And all the best for your channel. I'm sure that lots of people will learn more via the channel videos as well. So go do it, I would say.
thank you so much, Anu. In fact, we were in Cloud Katha, many of our readers are sending requests to us for videos that do you have video content? Please, if you can provide us. And I'm like, man, I have not yet created, but well, when we have got lot more requests, then it, asked me to, I gave a think that, well, if everyone is requesting it and if it's the need of the hour, then why not?
Yes,
So,
go ahead.
yeah,
Of course. I mean, that's the best way. I mean, go ahead, create it. I'm really looking forward to
thank
it.
you so much for boosting the morale.
Yay.
It, is very much required.
I'm always there for you. And go ahead and just rock it. And thank you. Thanks once again for coming. It was really nice talking to you. Maybe in future also, if we want to deep dive into something, I would really like to have you someday again on my channel.
Thank you so much, Anu. With that, I would like to sign off, and I would like to say a very, very happy new year to all our viewers. Stay happy, healthy, and stay safe. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you so much, Priti, and to everyone. That's all for now. I will see you later in next video. And Happy New Year! I hope you are all
Happy
safe,
New
healthy.
Year.
Take care. Yay!